Hi, it's Lou, and it's October 22nd, 2025. I've kept track a little bit of the last couple years, and I'm saying it all wrong. In other words, I've lost track of my time. I've just only been keeping track since I was diagnosed with cancer. So there you go. Your time clock changes. Haven't used this in a long time. This is my Papa Bear's cup, which he never used. But I do need to start drinking more water. I'm supposed to be drinking a lot of liquid. They just didn't care what kind. But see, they weren't thinking about diabetes and sugar. Because they said, drink sports drinks, whatever, because those things have your electrolytes in them. And if you've been watching me, then you saw that you saw that I put my material in the wash. Now see, this material was 5 yards, but the material, the red, the other day, that was 16 yards, and they sent it all in one piece. They didn't have it on 2 different bolts. In fact, they just kind of had it folded up, zigzaggy, flat zigzaggy, but in a box, no bolt whatsoever to keep anything straight. And like an idiot, because that's how I am sometimes, we learn by experience. It's been a long time, and I don't know that I've ever done that. And what I'm trying to say is pre-wash the cotton, okay? I had asked if I should do that of Safari, and they said yes. And then I've seen some videos lately that said the same thing, because it does shrink and your color can bleed. Anyway, so I had a whole bunch of stuff that I don't think I pre-washed, that I was making coasters out of, so maybe it won't make a difference. But I'm going to try to make, and I'm not even sure, I'm not there yet, but I'm going to try to make some quilts for my kids. My daughter had them, but they're mine too. That's the way I see it. I've been gone forever and a day, but it's nice to see them. Yeah. And then another thing about pre-washing is that it's going to shrink in different ways, I guess. So it's not going to always be like the squared up. You're going to lose some, and it might get a little Willy Wonkus, like crooked. I used that word the other day, didn't I? Well, anyway, I'm excited that so far I just got to get me a sewing machine that works good. And then mostly, probably it's me that has the problem. I was using a sewing machine that I got from a lady that I got material from. And she said it was just used for making costumes. And then when I went to use it, there was some oil that was coming down the thread, and I didn't understand that. So maybe she oiled it, knowing that it needed to be oiled, or maybe that's just from when she did it before, but it came down because I threaded the machine, and it came down through the thread, down through the needle. But that's neither here nor there, except for that it's kind of a strange coincidence. And you know what's really strange? Yesterday, or whenever it was, I think it was yesterday. No, it's the day before. Because I'm on a roll. I get myself all set up, and first you cut the material. First you think about it in your head. And then you cut the material, And then you're ready to go to town, sewing, you know, getting it put together. And sometimes you got to do it while the iron strikes, while the iron's hot. I don't know. There is a expression. I talk in expressions. I love this color. Can you see it? I love blue. Well, that's supposed to be a cobalt blue, but you couldn't prove it by me. But see, maybe I'm just thinking cobalt blue is like a royal blue. That's what I thought it was, royal blue. Okay, so I need to know where this is going here. You go to 15. A little over 15. Okay. I would like to get a smaller deal. When I got this, I really, you know, I'd never been doing it, never done it. And it's a little bit on the large size. But see, if I was on a table, like Jessica's dining room table downstairs is a big table, but it's covered. Like most tables, they're covered with stuff. Okay, let's see if that's going to work. I took my glasses off, but I'm pretty sure I got it about right. Okay. Just want to square this off so that when I start cutting, everything's straight. Nothing like it being off. Okay, so I'm probably going to have to put my glasses on. I can kind of see what I'm doing. Where are they at? My glasses are kind of Willy Wonkas too. They want to fall off my face. These are ones I haven't worn in a long time. I need to get an appointment set with a few people. Eyeglasses being one. I need to have my ears tested. You know, they said it's important that we can hear. There's something, some kind of frequency or something. I don't know how to explain it because I don't understand it. But it was like, without the ability to use those frequencies, receive the frequencies, it affects something, but I don't know what it is. Somebody was telling me that Dad should be having his, and I need to be having mine, and I just haven't done it. And it is kind of important. Okay. What's happening here is I was cutting material earlier, okay? I got some material. I was trying to pick up on a couple of colors that I thought my daughter liked, what I thought. And this is cobalt blue, but I expected it to look different. I expected it to be more like a royal blue, I guess. That's what it is. So I like this color, and my grandson was here last night. 1, 2, 3 and I was showing him because I was talking about his mama. and I had actually mentioned it to Shea Bear, you know, that I needed to do some more research because I wanted to know some colors. He just told me the dark blue, and I'm going, okay, that's navy blue to me. But, you know, I needed something else to go with it. And so I thought about, oh, well, he's into sports. So what are his team's colors? So it turns out he's got 3 teams. And maybe there's more. He's got football, baseball, and hockey. And they all have different colors. And I don't know whose colors these are. Did I do it hard enough? No. My blade is just not going through, and it's just 4 layers. Okay, so I'll get it and show you. Do, 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 do. I cut some 2-inch strips and some 3.5-inch strips and some 6.5-inch strips. But I just wanted to show you the colors. He came up and, because his sister told him what I was looking for. So he came up and explained to me these different colors. And then I showed him what I had just gotten, which was these 2 colors. And he says, oh, that'll work. These 2. So one of his teams, and I don't know what, I think it has blue and white. And I don't think that's the Cowboys, but the Cowboys are like that too. Maybe it is the Cowboys. Nevertheless, somebody's like this and white, and then he says, and then sometimes they use this color. So he thought that would be perfect. And then he says, and I don't have any of that. Then he says, throw a little white in there. And I'm going, white gets dirty, man. And I was going by 2 colors. I would have to figure out how to put the white in there. Which I could replace. I could replace some of the 6.5-inch squares with some white. But that's something to think about. And then so when I told him, I says, well, that gets dirty. Then he's wearing a white hoodie. And he shows me the stain on his cuff. Yeah, I get dirty. So anyway, just got to thinking. See, in your head, it starts to see designs a little bit. I'm not that good. But I'm also thinking about the mug rugs. And really what it is a small placemat that you can use for your drink and a treat. Or a sandwich, say. And you just want to lay it down. You don't have to have a plate on it. You can just use it. What am I looking for? Oh. These these are just 2-inch strips, okay? Like when it's done, you sew it 1/4 inch on each side. So then you've got 1.5 inches that will be exposed. Which is perfect a little bit. I don't know if it's perfect, but to use in the strips for when you're doing the mug rug, which is really like a nice little quilt. And I could do that in their colors instead of them waiting for a quilt, right? Now, I know I'm going to do the quilt. Don't get me wrong. But I got thinking, nothing like that. Have your own personal placemat in the colors of your team. And it doesn't have to be big. The first time he took some of my coasters. And he was saying it would be really good with some rubbery stuff on the back. Well, I don't know that I could put my machine through that. I'm having a hard enough time sewing because it's just a regular machine. But I know, I saw that where you can put it on the inside. And then you turn it inside out and it's got a little rubbery grid on it so it doesn't slide. But anyway, he took a few. He took 4, and then I gave him another one yesterday because I had made one that had double padding. Because a glass can really sweat, and so it can get real wet. And the ones he took didn't even have padding on the inside. They were just, I don't think they had padding on the inside. But they had that terry cloth stuff on the back, so it was a little thicker, but not thick enough. So anyway, I love these colors. So some would call that brown. She wanted burgundy, and I was having a hard time finding a burgundy, and this just seemed close. And see, I haven't even shown her. She said burgundy and emerald. So I've got this other strip that's green. It's harbor blue, but it looks green, like a marine green. So I'm just going to call that good. And so I was reiterating with her last night, and she said, I don't care what it is. I'll take any of it. So, groovy. I get to have carte blanche. Isn't that what they call it? Carte blanche with my, I don't know what I'm doing, okay? So I start to say my designs. That's kind of what I'm doing in my head, but I don't know what I'm doing. So there. Like this one I'm having a hard time. My sewing machine all jammed up. Okay, so I put oil in it, and I got it to move for a second or two, but I'll have to pull it out again and see if it'll work. So my thread was working with that machine. Now I'm using my daughter's machine, and it moves up and down so smooth. I love that. But it keeps breaking my thread. And I don't know, see, it's got a tension thing. So I might have to do something with that tension, and I hate messing with tension because it really can mess up your threads. Tension has to do a lot with that thread. You got one going on the top, one going on the bottom, and if it's not in sync the way it's supposed to be, then you'll have a loop all up on the top of the row or the bottom of the row. It's usually the top, I think. It's been a long time. All I know is that's where I get all confounded, is when it has to do that. So the quilt that I looked at the other day, and I think that it'll work in some other ways too, just had, they had taken 10-inch squares and cut 3.5 inches off of it, which left 6.5 inches. And they used that 3.5 inches and 6.5 inches to make a quilt. Those shapes. And then the one woman, I mean, she really had it going on. She had a design anyway, and she ended up making big blocks, and then she had to lay them out on a big open floor because she was making a big quilt. But she really, it made a design. It was unique. But that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to find a way to have it look good. And I just thought, what better thing than to have their colors? You know, nothing like having an ugly quilt. But if it's your colors and it's ugly, maybe it's not so ugly. I think you know what I mean. 1, 2, 3.5. Make sure I'm square. So I'm not quite square. Okay. I just want this thing to cut when I go through, but you know, I guess it's good that it doesn't. Boy, just barely. And I've seen something that reminded me of that quilt I made for my daughter years ago. I believe I made it for her. It was either for her or for us. But her has it somewhere. But anyway, I saw somebody do a mug rug, and they did it what you would call psychedelic, but not. Just a bunch of different little scraps put together in haphazard ways, which made okay. Where am I? 1, 2, 3.5, 13.5. I know. I must got lost. I went out to the Y this morning. Stood in line. But what I ended up doing was I gave my card to 3 different people. You'd think that would be a goal because 3 is my number. But I haven't been doing that. But I happen to have them with me. And if I have a conversation with somebody or occasion for there to be niceties going on, you know, then I offer them my card. Tell them about my channel. 19 and a half. So the woman that was in front of me ends up to be somebody who used to work in oncology. So we had a conversation about that. But I had already given her my card. And I was asking her if she knew what RSO was. And she'd never heard of it. And then I said Rick Simpson oil. She didn't know what that was. So I told her, I said, just look up Rick Simpson online. And a lot of stuff will pop up about him. Don't break. I pushed too hard. Do, 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 do. Anyway, I don't know how this is going to go, but I'm kind of excited. And I started telling you about the rug mugs. So it was just made with a design on it. I think she had 3 different rows that she sewed together, and those rows were just lots and lots and lots of little scraps sewn in haphazard ways. So then she sewed them together, and then she folded them out and pressed them, and then she made that like a quilt top, which is what the mug rug is, a quilt top, which means you have a cute little placemat. Hear my bones popping? Boy. Yeah, I gotta get some new blades. I like that color, but I don't know that I guess I don't know what cobalt blue looks like. But it works for one of his teams. He said that would work great. I don't know how to put a 3rd color in the mix. I kind of do, but it would really be kind of like haphazard, which would be okay. Do, 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 do. 1, 2, 3, so we need 16. I know there's a faster way to do it. One would be getting sharper blades and getting them installed. And then I've definitely, when I'm just by myself, I can do it faster too. Which I'm by myself. I just have company. Hopefully. Well, I only got, I don't know. I'll have to look it up. I was thinking I only got 1 yard of that. The burgundy. It's not burgundy. It's called henna. But I still thought it looked close enough because the burgundies I've seen, they're real close to a brown. Okay, so now Do, 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 do. Okay. Six and a half inch squares is what I need. And then I need a bunch of the 3.5 inch. 1, 2, 3.5, so 19.5. We'll see if we can do her. I want those lines or those dots to stand out more. I guess, hopefully, my Walmart does have a sewing section. I don't know how vast, not near as vast as what I saw the other day. Somebody was showing their Walmart sewing section. But you can buy the stuff online. As you've seen, I've been getting material in the mail. And with Walmart and Amazon, depending if your order size is, and if your order is being shipped by them, not by a third party. You get free shipping, so you don't have to worry so much about the weight and all that stuff. Let's see, let's put that back. Okay, so I'm going to still do some more 3.5s. I'm going to do these 3.5s, and then I'm going to sew those strips together like I've been doing already. And then I'm going to sew, I might not even do the 4-pack. I might just do the doubles. You sew the strips together, and then you can cut them every so often. And then turn it around like a, not really brick. 1, 2, 3.5. So we want 16. Okay. This is still, for me anyway, a lot better than scissors. Because my fingers are not strong. And so having to cut and cut and cut, have to pressure and stuff, not good. All right, so 1, 2, 3.5. It's going to be 12.5. I am excited about that, though. I've seen some cute mug rugs. But they have materials that have designs in it, different colors. Like florals or, I want to say paisley. I don't know if that's the right word. Anyway, let's see how I'll do some 6.5 inches. Because basically the deal is I'm trying to make 6.5 inch squares. However the square itself looks, in other words, if you want to make it all Willy Wonkas, or if you want to make it prim and proper. That might not be the right word, so please excuse me for that. In other words, what I call the 4-pack ends up like, I called it diamond shape, but it's not really a diamond shape, but it's like that. Okay, and then what's going to happen is on one end, I'm going to sew it to either a brown or an aqua. That's not aqua, that's turquoise. A brown or a turquoise 6.5 inch square. And this will be 6.5 inches. If I can, I hope I can square it. But it should be 6.5 inches across. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I've got, in case you didn't see that, anyway, I've got this much left of one of my strips to cut. I'll be cutting it in 3.5 inch sections because I'm sewing it to other things. But even if I don't, 3.5 inches somehow works into this equation. Like if I put 3.5 inches of one color on one side and 3.5 inches of the other color on the other side, I wonder if that would just be weird for a mug rug, you know, because you'd have your crisscross in the middle and then you'd have a stripe of each different color on the outside, and that would be sufficient. That would be your mat. These strips end up being 3 inches. But the square, you can cut 6.5 inch squares. But if you do the 4-way, the 4x like that, like I showed you, you'll be able to cut 6.5 inch squares. And that's what I'm going to do, what I just showed you, that's what I'm going to do with this material. Part of it, I'm going to sew strips together. And then turn it and make those squares. I shouldn't be using the iron on that. It's warping my cutting board. So I should learn. 1, 2, 3.5. Okay, 18.5. Close to you. Maybe that's the carpenters. I don't know. Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you. Yes, indeedy do. What a sweet song. And yes, it just popped out of my head this morning. 1, 2, 3.5, 15. It's nice to have a brain that gives you something good. And who knows when I heard that a million years ago. So, I'm just measuring and cutting strips right now. And one day, lo and behold, I will have made a quilt top. I have to watch some more videos, but I've been seeing them where they're making the squares as they go. So for that was mostly a rag quilt, but I bet you there's another way. I really like the rag quilt. I mean, if the idea is to have something soft and cozy and you're not necessarily worried about it being all gorgeous and stuff, you know, because you're really going to be using it out on the couch, probably. It looked really cool. Not because it was all ragged and stuff, but I'm looking from the edge of, or the angle of the person who's making it. Because what you do is you cut these squares out. They're all the same size. She had 2 of them out of flannel, which was the bottom. The bottom layer, you would face it outward, the good-looking side out, and then you would put another layer in the middle. She's using flannel, okay, not batting. So I got distracted. She's using flannel as her quilt batting and also the backing. And then the top layer is a cotton. Okay, so then you've got, when you're all done, you've got these squares that are the cotton design, and they're surrounded by this fuzzy stuff, which is where the material frayed. And they call it a rag quilt. But how simple and easy. No quilting, no having to put a backing on it and a batting on it. It's all in the squares. I mean, so you just deal with a square and deal with another square and deal with another square. And then you take those squares and the bottom is going to be pulled up. So it's going to be the like size of the bottom of the flannel that you're going to put together and make a seam. Now, she said a 1/2 inch seam. I think it was a 1/2 inch. Somebody recently did a 5/8 inch, and I don't know what that was, because that's just a little bit weird. In other words, it was because we were doing a little coaster, a little teeny tiny area, and she still had a 5/8 inch seam, which is, I do a 1/4 inch seam. So that's a big difference. I think what she does is a 5/8, and then she cuts off a 1/4 inch. So I just go down to the 1/4 inch. You just want to make sure all your seams are together. And I did see that the other day where they would do a row and another row, and then they would take those 2 rows together and just sew the rag quilt was a 1/2 inch seam, but a regular one was a 1/4 inch seam all the way down, I believe. It seems awful little, doesn't it? It bears investigation. I'm going to leave that where it's at. Now it's at 15. Now, I haven't done any 5x5s. Those coasters people are doing are 5x5s, and I just think they're too small. And my grandson liked the 6x6s. He said, if you have a big mug, you know, then that coaster's too little. They're talking about mug of beer. Or maybe root beer. That would be good. Okay, I need to remember I want some 2-inch strips. And see, one lady that I saw, she had, I don't remember what she called it. It was like a jelly roll. It was called something else, and it was only 1.5 inch wide. So by the time you had your seams, you only had 1 inch showing. And those are cool on the mug rugs. Just having 1 inch showing seems kind of weird. And what it also does is helps give it some stuffing. Because I made one mug rug and it's got the back on it and everything. And it feels really thick. And it's quilted as I went. So it was an experiment. So, I mean, I could try to do 1.5 inch ones, but right now I've got 2-inch ones. I probably should have a variation, like 1.5 inches instead of 2 inches. That's kind of weird, huh? 1.5 inches. Yeah, that song's playing in my head, and I bet it is by the Carpenters. On the day that you were born, the angels got together and decided to create a dream come true. Sprinkled moon dust in your hair. Do, 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 do. I got to quit using the iron on my cutting board because it's making it warp. It's plastic. You wouldn't think that that little iron would penetrate and do that, but I think it is. Okay, so I have an 1.5 inch strip. So when you take a 1/4 inch off of either side, you're just going to have 1 inch showing. And that'll be cute. I did 2-inch strips of the, I want to say Murloc. It's not Murloc. This. Let's see. It's that much bigger. Anyway, it would just give a little variation. So I am thinking about doing that. I want to take a real pretty picture on one side, and then I want to add these little strips to it. Quilt it as you go on a piece of backing. And then did I say backing? It's batting. So for this machine I'm using now, it's not doing well sewing on the batting. It's like grabbing it. So I've got to figure out how to fix that problem. So, I mean, it's running real smooth as far as that arm going up and down. But it's not. I should have had my cup all this time, because then I will get some liquid in me. Maybe, if I concentrate. I like the 1.5 inches. And then, yeah, I need an ironing board and a big iron. A big steam iron. Okay, I'm going to do 6.5 inches. So I don't have any of those yet. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 13.5. Okay. Da 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 da. Do do do. Just like me, they long to be close to you. I need a few more of those 1.5 inch strips. Okay, I'll leave you there and put you over there. I'll be putting all these puzzles together at the same time. But I love these two colors, the blue and this blue and brown. So basically it's these two colors. I did the best I could to get burgundy, and I just couldn't find any. Do-da-dum-da-dee-da-dum. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Here I am on this thing again. Get off of it. Okay. My poor cutting board. I'm going to be mad because I be ruining it. Okay. Here we go. What should I do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half. So I want 14 and a half. Perfect. You know, there's just all kinds of things a person could do, but I think the personal size quilt is really cool. Really great idea. That way you can have a nice little cozy personal size quilt. You won't have to wait a million years to get that big thing. Got too many things up here. I don't know what the name of that song would be, but I bet it is the Carpenters. And no, I don't have an Alexa in here, and if I did, I'd probably get in trouble. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half. 12 and a half. Meaning copyrighted. Which I don't know what that really means. It's amazing they can pick up on that. I think it's going to be gorgeous. I don't want to put white in it. Two colors, that's all. That's all, that's all. Mess with my head. 22 inches. Come on down here. Maybelline, why can't you be true? Uh-oh. I got a smartwatch, but she's smarter than me. I get a lot of notifications. I'm sorry, I was just scrolling. I could stop that. But I just got this smartwatch, and like I said, I think I said it's smarter than me. I don't know how to use it, but it has this buzzing. It buzzes when there's a notification, so at least I know to go look, right? I need to learn how to use it. So I'll have to sit and talk with somebody who knows how to use one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half, so 15 and a half. I know it's not going to pull. Yeah, the only thing I knew about quilting was in the old days, you know, where they had it set out on a frame. You got this, your final product, is how wide it is, how big it is on this quilting frame. And then it's all rolled up. So I think you start in the middle, quilting by hand, which I couldn't do now to save my neck, I'm sure. My fingers are not strong enough for that. I don't know how to explain that. Just they're not. Some people will know what I mean. Okay, so the half is there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I need to go to 9. I don't know how many I need. I just put some more of these colors in my cart because I like them. And I think, even though it might not be perfect, it seems like this would be a Dallas Cowboys deal. Which my daughter still is a Dallas Cowboys fan. We lived in Texas for a while. I don't know how they're doing now, but, you know, at one point in time, they weren't doing too good. Talking about Dallas Cowboys. I love my man. Okay, so try to get this all squared up. Oh, good, I have that pent. Talking about doing things we used to do. Okay, let's see if we can do this. Yeah. I think I saw that where someone made their own ironing board. Kind of like what I'm doing. I got a towel under this thing, but the problem is I got my cutting board on it. And my cutting board is not wood. Well, it's not covered with stuff. It's plastic. – 1.5 inches. That is really cool. I will like that. So I need to make some. I'm going to come over here and make one more. Let's see, where are I? Let's go over here to 22 square. Okay. Talking about doing things we used to do. 1, 2, 3.5. So 18.5. I'd be talking to myself. I didn't realize, but I have to be to my doctor's appointment tomorrow at 9:45 in the morning. I'm not used to that, but it will be better to not cut into my schedule. I bet Jessica's home. 3.5. Anyway, I love that color. And they've got a good deal on it right now at Walmart.com. It comes 3 yards to the deal. And then it said something about having to do 2 of them. But I think you might can remove one. I've got 2 of them in my cart, but that would be really lovely. So they're 3-yard cuts for just under $9. So they're $3 a yard. $2.97 as a matter of fact. That dog is having a fit because Jessica's fixing to come through the door. See, Jessica and Diego have been gone for a while. They just got back yesterday. They went down to Florida for Bike Week or something, Daytona. Back to the grind. Jessica belongs to a league now. She went ahead, since we're there every week anyway, we have a Tuesday. We go out for a little bit of a date, kind of, sort of. Anyway, the point is, we've been going out on Tuesdays, and they started a pool league, so she went ahead and joined the pool league. Okay, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 12. I know that probably sounds weird, me saying 6 and then 12, but it's because that's where I am on the ruler. That's all. See, that was my elbow made that noise. See, that's neat. You can have a full 6-inch square. You don't have to have it cut into pieces. But then the other way I'm doing it, it'll be cut into 4 pieces. Or 2, because I might just do 2 of those squares next to the 6-inch thing. I guess you probably have to be following me to know what I'm talking about. And even then, you might not. Okay. Okay, so I want to do some 2-inch strips. Come on. Okay, so I got a 2-inch and an 1.5 inches. I'm going to do a couple of the 2 inches. But I do like the 1.5 inches too. Hello? I think she's going into Shea Bear's room. All right, so I'm going to do a 2-inch.